Hey, good morning, everybody. We're live. It's me, Robert Phoenix, broadcasting to you live from the Hill Country here in sunny Texas, out in nature, where I seem to like it. What's going on? What's happening? Let's do a quick little roll call here. We got Beth Berry, Jennifer Fitzgerald, Coach K, and let's see, Susie. There's Susie. Hello, Susie. Susie the sea monster. Sorry, I'm a little loopy. There's Faith, rambling gal. Snake Jones, what's happening? Snake Diana Young, what's happening? Diana Isla Wren in the house, FUP 77. Joe Mama, Marlene. Hey, Marlene. Good to see you. I'm going to send you an email today, Marlene. Keep your eyes open. Hey, Joe, can you get Ryan to work on that flux capacitor since he's probably not going to be attending school this semester? Can you get Ryan working on that time travel thing? Kind of like a little summer project. That'd be kind of cool if you could figure that one out. Kurt Judkins in the house. Mr. Cruz, breaking the dawn. What's up, brother? Good to see you. Sandra Ripito, Lisa Marie. Lisa, we got to get together. You're in the response column, Lisa. Jay Rubin, Jennifer Rubin. A lot of stuff coming out of Hollywood, Jennifer. Shows getting canceled right and left and right and left and right and left. The star-making machinery is being shut down. We could cover that, although that may be a significant part of today's show. Mary Black from Tahoe. I love Tahoe. One of my favorite places. I love Tahoe. I have tales from Tahoe. Let's see what else we have. There's Lynn. Hello, Lynn from Lockdown Paradise. Vivi in the house. And there's Mr. D. Maury Demare. There's Christy. Christy coming at us from Wisconsin. Nice to see you. Emily in the house. Oh, our friends, the Crimmies, got a text that Emily was in on. Apparently, Chris took a spill in the garden and did some damage to her shoulder. So they're Chris is having to deal with some medical stuff now. So if you can, send some good thoughts. If you're the praying type, send a prayer in her direction so that she does not have to have any invasive surgery around this thing, because we're in a time now where that stuff gets really tricky. And you go into a hospital for one thing, and you come out, if you come out, with another. So let's make sure that we keep Chris in our thoughts and in our hearts here, and just kind of bind whatever positive energy and love that we can around her and Steve, because they bring such good stuff to the world through their gardening and through their just wonderful hospitality with their little refuge in North Carolina. Speaking of Carolina, we got Carolina in the Pines. What's going on? Lori D sent to Chris. Tales from Tahoe chapter. Yes. The book is going to happen. Hey, Robin, I promise today, you and I will set something up. I'm just playing. So I'll just give you an idea. I was basically answering email from 6:00 last night till 2 a.m. Okay. And I got through to Saturday's emails. So the email thing is really intense. It's very intense for me. I'm letting you know. And if I don't get back to you right away, or I don't even get back to you at all, please do not take it personally. Don't take it personally. I'm swamped with correspondence. Not that it's a bad thing, but it can be a bit overwhelming. And I'm trying to catch up, and I'm trying to, put the site back together. Still, there's things I have to do, and and I have a personal life too. Like I had to go to Kerrville yesterday and get a blood test. It's not for anything major. It's just, I'm checking certain levels of certain things, which you do when you get at a certain phase of your existence. So if I don't get back to you right away, please don't take it personally. If I don't get back to you at all, I may skip your email or something. Please don't take it personally. That's not the case. I try to connect with as many people as possible, and sometimes it's just, I would say it's overwhelming, but it can be quite a bit. And one of the things that I've asked people to do, at the risk of sounding like a dick, is when if you send me a link to a video or you send me a link to something that you think I should read, can you please summarize it? Can you please summarize what you're sending? And I think that this is a good practice for everybody, because if you can summarize what you're sending to me, that means number one, you have a grasp of the material, right? You actually know the thing that you're sending to me. Why, and you can articulate it. And if you can articulate it to me in a paragraph, that means you can articulate what you want to share with another person. That's important, I think. The other thing is it allows me to understand what video or thing, because I just get sent links. Then it says must watch. Well, what if I click on that link and I'm clicking into child porn? I'm not being paranoid, but this is a weird world we're living in. And I get it. You could say blah, 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 and it could still be that thing. But if you take the time to do that and contextualize, I guarantee you that nobody who's going to go that far would do that and try to, contextualize something that I should be seeing. It also allows me to figure out if I've seen the video. Again, at the risk of sounding a dick, I do this full time. I don't have a life. My life is this. My life is working with people on the client side of things and research. That's my life. And trying to get a workout in. That's it. And Jasper and Rosie. So there's probably a pretty good chance, and again, at the risk of offending people and sounding like a dick, probably a pretty good chance that the video you've sent me, I've probably already seen or I've already looked at. That doesn't mean you can't send things. Just summarize it. That's all I'm asking. And I think it's just a good practice, because we live in a world of and I've been watching this, of just link culture. Oh, here's a link. Here's a link. Here's a link. It's like, okay, so I don't know. It's just, as somebody who does value information, the exchange of information, and the links can be important. I think it's really essential that we understand and contextualize the link that we're sending, because I think it's just a good exercise. It's a good exercise to articulate what it is that you're sending to me. Okay. And just keep aware of the fact that I might get the same video from about 5 or 6 people. That doesn't mean you should say, should I send you this one? Look, I'm not trying to be an asshole. I'm just trying to give you an understanding, an idea around the protocol of how I think we could use better judgment and better kinds of ways of understanding the material, even on a personal level. It's good. It's good to stretch a little bit and try to condense something in a paragraph. Like, this is what this thing is about. And I've already had a conversation with somebody, and today they sent me a video and they did exactly that thing. It was like, cool. I appreciate that. So if you're going to send me something, tell me what it's about. And then I'll, and if I send you something, I'll do the same thing. I promise. All right, let's get going. Dear blessed and holy Father, Mother God of the great central Sun, with the universal light, which is the light of Yeshua Sananda Emmanuel. We ask that only the highest and best information, truth, and wisdom come through this channel. And during these times, we ask and are open to embrace, accept, by sacred decree, the qualities of trust and faith, courage, wisdom, humor, flexibility, endurance, patience, action, courage, love, higher mind. And if there's any karmic residue, anything that we need to have cleansed, purified, or cleared away, let it be so. Let it happen now, so that we return to our experience in our lives as sovereign entities as we entered into this experience. So be it. All right. Let me jump in on chat. And we have morning, Mary. Good to see you. Emily, I had to make the same request. Yep. Thanks, Emily. Anka, do you have a link to JFK Research? Good morning from Sierra Nevada. What's going on, John? Welcome to the show. What else do you have? Who has the kind of time to endlessly watch links? Nice to see you, Ani. I think there are a lot of people who probably aren't working, so there's a lot of link sharing going on these days, which is not a bad thing. We are in the incubation of the awakening. Christy, reasonable request. Good to know sending a link is a pain in the butt. I don't know how to send one. Good. Stay link free. What did Emily say? With that, no actual conversation or summary. I hate when people just send me video links endlessly with actual without. Yeah, yeah. So okay. I don't want to get all segmenty and stuff, but there are people who create content and there are people who absorb content. Okay. And sometimes they have the Pisces vesica, right? Right. And sometimes not. And that's okay. Not everybody is, supposed to be creating content. Although you go on YouTube and I could probably take a machete to like 30% of the channels on YouTube, but that's another story. But not everybody's meant to do that. Like, I'm sure people do things that I can't do, whatever they are. And it's like, I wouldn't expect me to do that. And so I sit back and let those people do those things. I get it. There's a segmentation that takes place. So people that do, create content are obviously open to new sources of content. Trust me, if somebody sends me something that blows my mind, I'm like, wow. Like Steve sent me something last night that I'm going to bring up. And it really grabbed me. And I'm going to tell you why it grabbed me, because it's part of today's show. So we are open to content so that we can weave it into our, our platform, our experience, or stream, whatever, right? But in order to do that, like there's a certain kind of mindset or a certain kind of function that, and again, I'm not trying to create any hierarchies or anything. This is not what this is about. It's just trying to kind of understand like what's on the other side of this experience. And there are people who are very hungry for content, and they're hungry for shares too. They want to share. It's like, look what I found. Look what I found. What do you think? What do you think? And I want to deepen the conversation, or I want confirmation, and all that is cool, right? Because we're living in a time where, we kind of need this stuff. It's like a daily intake of vitamins in some ways. And there's also the other side of it, which is, creating the filter so that, whether it's me or Emily or whomever, right, can step aside and then create the things that we need to create or want to create or choose to create so we can bring them to you. And it's a very interesting kind of dialectic in some ways. So just keep in mind, like when you and look, I'm not the only person. I'm sure you sent shit to other people, this person or that person, and they're have to sort through the same thing. And I know that not that I'm anywhere near the amazing Polly, but I'm sure that woman is inundated with stuff constantly. She can't respond to everything personally, nor would I expect her to. Okay. Which brings up a very interesting point. I'm not going to go for very long today because my numbers are going down, and I'm having a real moment here. My numbers are going down on YouTube. So maybe it's because, I don't know, I'm too caustic, or maybe my videos are too long. But I was trending at about 1,300 views a day, and now I'm kind of just like right up at about 800. So something's got to change there, because if I'm following the metrics, that's not making sense for me to spend as much time and watch the theoretical numbers go down. And I don't think YouTube is fucking with me. Maybe they are. I don't know. Maybe, I don't know. That's not a position I want to hold, by the way. That's a loser's position. But I see people I see these guys like certain people. I'm not going to name names or anything, and this in a positive sense. Right, they're getting 50,000 views on a chat, on a live stream, 50,000. 350,000 subscribers. Right. And it's like, here I am, trending up at about 800, 900. And it's like, at some point, like it to me, as I begin to get Virgo and logical, it starts to not to make as much sense, or it doesn't make it like, it's like, does it really pan out? Does it really is it logical for me to be doing what I'm doing when the numbers are not hitting and trending? I'm sorry. I have to have that conversation with myself. It's just the way it is. Because if we're theoretically logical people who use data at times in order to, try to understand whether we're being productive or we're throwing our energy in the wrong place, then I have to look at that and say something is not working. Something is not right here. And maybe I'm just completely myopic. But this is a conversation that I'm going to have with myself. And I'm just telling you, if I don't get my numbers up in a way that I think is reasonable, then I'm going to stop doing this. I'm going to stop doing, because ultimately, and I get people, they send me emails and stuff, you're helping a lot. And that's true. I get it. Right. It's fine. And it's not a popularity contest, but I'm looking at this thing from a numbers perspective. And I have to be honest with myself. Like, could I be doing something else with my time? Could I be doing something that, could I be working on my website? Could I be doing more readings? Could I be writing, which I've, sort of put in the can? Because I'm going to have a very long and very detailed and very truthful relationship with myself in this medium. And if it's not there, then I'm going to do something different. Okay. I've been at this for doing this, the 15 minutes of flame since 2015. And theoretically I have 1,800 subscribers, and I'm not bitching and moaning. It is what it is. I choose to do this. And I'm not saying that, YouTube is victimizing me, but at some level, the numbers are telling a story, and they're not telling a story that I necessarily want to invest in. Okay. That's just the way it is. It's just the way it is. So, if you want me to continue to do this, pass my videos around. Pass them around. Tell people about it. Shit, you don't even have to pay me anything. Pass them around. I'd like to get up at least around 2,000 subscribers, for crying out. I'm sorry. I got this Mars thing going on right now. It's Mars square Saturn. It's opposing all my Venus planets. So I'm a little edgy around this because I just can't continue to invest in something that I don't think is actually paying off for me as it relates to data and stats. And I'm just going to leave it there. I'm going to leave it there. And that's the way it is. There was something else I wanted to say about that. I forget now. Anyway, shall we go on with the show? Oh, yeah. This is the last piece around this. This was totally eye-opening for me. So Mark uploaded the show from Friday to his website, his YouTube channel, which I really appreciate. And he uploaded it to Spreaker, which is, it's a podcast service. And Mark Devlin uploaded it to his YouTube page. He's got 4,000 views on the same interview that I did with him on my page. And what am I trending at now on my page? About 1,100, 1,200? And it's like, and that's a podcast, right? It's not even, and YouTube is supposed to be able to pick up the algorithm of the image, right? And then helps boost it and circulate it. And it's like, really? It's great. I'm glad Mark has 4,000 people listening to his, he should. But again, I'm trying to do the math in my head around this shit. It's like, is it really like working out? Is it really, really making metrics sense at some level? Because I got to be honest at some point. Is this just like some fucking vanity push that I'm on or whatever? I really try to understand this stuff. I try to bring a service to the world. and do what I do. But at some point, man, if the numbers are not kicking or not matching, then I got to pay attention to that. All right, I'm done with that. Let's go. Let's get it on. All right, Steve sent me a link last night, which I really want to get to your attention. Bring to your attention. I would like to play the link for you, but I can't because it's been removed by YouTube. You see that? You know, what was it? What was it? Where it is? Community guidelines. You know what the video was? The video was a doctor in Houston. Happened to be a black woman, so-called black woman, likely from Africa, maybe Kenya. You could hear the kind of African Kenyan clip, you know, in her accent. And she went on camera and she basically said that she saved all these people from the corona thing by using 3 simple protocols. And that was it. That was it. That was it. She brought those 3 simple things out. I think it was hydroxychloroquine, Zithromax, and what was the other one? Zinc or something like that. Steve, you can verify that. It's gone. It took the video off. Why? Because she's speaking truth. Like this coronavirus thing, people, you better stand up for this. You better get off your fucking asses right now, or else you're gonna be in big trouble if you don't get off your fucking ass and do something about this bullshit coronavirus. Okay. So if that means that you have to walk around without a mask, and if that's the least you can do, right? And I don't care if this video gets censored or taken off at this point. I really don't. You know, since only about 800 or 900 people are going to watch it anyway, does it really matter? I'm sorry. I got to spit that bitterness out. I'm sorry. I got to spit the bitterness out, because it gets frustrating that all I see are these like little numbers, man. And I just have to question the time invested in this whole operation. All right. But you got to do something, because this is what they're doing. This is what they're doing right here, right there. This woman comes up with an absolute surefire, bang on solution, and they remove her video. What are you going to do about it? I am putting you on blast. What are you going to do about it? What are you personally going to do about this so-called event that we're experiencing? You better look at it you got to look in the mirror real hard. Figure out what you're going to do. You got to make a stand. There are a bunch of doctors now that are going to Washington, D.C. because they're basically going to risk their reputation. They're going to risk their licenses because they want to show up and they want to make a statement that the thing that's happening is not the thing that's really happening. Okay. These people are putting their asses on the line. This woman, she might lose her license to practice medicine. Okay. These are people that are actually taking steps in order to throw roadblocks into this thing that we're experiencing that's crushing businesses, totally crushing businesses, turning people against one another, families against one another. I do, you know, when I read for people, you know, one of the more common threads is I can't talk to my family about this. I can't talk to my family. Me and my family, we see this this is what's happened, man. They've weaponized this thing and they've created fractional relationships with each and every one of us. So I ask you, what are you going to do? What are you going to do? What kind of responsibility are you going to take to like keep the machine from lurching forward, right? So that it doesn't subsume you like the Borg. Twitter just deleted one of Donald Trump's tweets. Okay. And guess what it had to do with? Yeah, it had to do with theoretical alternative cures around the so-called coronavirus. Twitter has decided we're not going to allow Trump to tweet this, which is bizarre because Twitter has about a 49% share. A 49% share of Twitter is owned by Paul Singer. If you don't know who Paul Singer is, look him up. Look him up. That should be like like 101. 101. Know Paul Singer. Know who he is. Know what he's about. Know what he's about. Know what he's invested in. Figure that out. Put Paul Singer in the Rolodex of your mind. Okay. He's an important individual. Not an important individual in terms of the world that we want to create, but an important individual in the other side of that story. Okay. Here's a little homework assignment. Figure out Paul Singer. Yeah, I have conversations with people, and they're trying to, tell me, well, this is going on and that is going on. So, oh yeah, well, do you know who Paul Singer is? Who's that? Who's Paul Singer? Like, how can we even have a conversation at times if you don't know who Paul Singer is? I'm sorry, I'm splitting hairs, but this is the guy that is running essentially the pre-crime medical tracing program that they're developing in Rhode Island out of a company that he runs in Israel using American tax dollars to take the quote unquote best and brightest of Project 8200 and then put them into tech companies all across the world. Figure it out. You got to get up to speed here. And that's what I do. Like I digest this stuff, right? This is what I do. This is why I do this. Sorry, I'm a little edgy today. I think that there's going to be a significant event here within the next 30 to 45 days. I don't think the Democrats want an election. I think it's a sham. I think it's a farce. I think it's just surreal theater that we're being subjected to with the whole Joe Biden sham. Why is there no vice presidential candidate? Why is there no vice presidential candidate? We're 98 days away from an election, a little over 3 months, and there's no VP. There's no VP selected. Why is that? Why is that? Is it because they don't even plan on having an election? Is that the story, Morning Glory? Nancy Pelosi. Should I play the video? You've seen the video. Maybe I'll just leave a link inside the. I'm sorry, I'm being an asshole there. I'm trying to work through some stuff. Anyway, you've seen the video with Pelosi. She's talking about continuity of government. She says, "I'm number 2 in command." What do you think they're planning on doing? Do you think that they want an election? No. Donald Trump. And I've said this astrologically, this guy's going to win. He's going to win. It's in his chart. Joe Biden won't win. He won't. People see through that. And you've got people like the top guy, one of the top guys in the Bernie Sanders team said that voting for Joe Biden is basically like eating a shit sandwich. I mean, this is coming from somebody at a high level inside the Sanders, clique. So if it's coming from him, how do you think those people actually feel about voting for Biden? And they're not into it. I think right now, if we have this election in November, Trump will absolutely crush Biden. He'll crush him. And then we're going to get into the debate about how the election was thrown or whatever. And all, the left are already going out there. They're saying, will Trump, leave the White House peacefully and all this bullshit. They're already putting it out there. So if you're Trump and you think that the Democrats are really going to go all in on some kind of a coup, which, by the way, I think is very, very possible. Very possible. What are you going to do? Are you going to allow that to happen? Or are you going to be engaged in a counter coup and then shut everything down? It's a really important question to ask because that's where we are right now. And Joe Biden he might name one a week from now, 2 weeks from now, a month from now, maybe, but there's a reason why he hasn't. And you would think that in the aftermath of, the whole social consciousness thing and BLM, that he was struck with light speed and named Stacey Abrams, or named Keisha Lance Bottoms, or named Kamala Harris, or whoever that person is, that would have fit right into that program, right into that group. Why didn't he? And why didn't they? Why didn't they just bring Susan Rice into the mix? Susan Rice's baggage, by the way, they would be stupid to bring her in as a VP candidate because she's like a central figure in the whole unmasking thing. That would make no sense at all. So you have to ask yourself a question: why hasn't this happened? And you know that he's not going to bring in Amy Klobuchar. They're not going to, you're going to hear the screaming, the absolutely ear bleeding cacophony that she's not a woman of color. Are they going to risk that to try to find somebody who fits the bill and is more modern? No, they have I don't believe they have any intention of having an election. None. So between now and, I would say, again, that middle part of September, this is where things are going to get very, very interesting. Very interesting. Because they don't want this thing to actually take place. They don't. When Kennedy was assassinated, they had all these different sort of stops along the way, right, to theoretically get the job done. And the last stop was to blow up the limo. That was it. If somehow, the grassy knoll guy or the guy in the front or Jackie or whatever, if somehow all of that failed, that the contingency plan was for that limo to go up in a ball of flames. That was it. He was not going to get out of Dealey Plaza alive that day. That was not going to happen. So don't you think that as we've seen everything, basically from 2016 to now, the gauntlet that Trump has had to endure as a president, and you could say he's in on it. I don't know. He would have to be just an absolute fucking sadist to be in on it to that degree. I'm sorry. To that degree, he'd have to be an absolute sadist, especially to put his youngest kid, Barron, through all this stuff. The other kids, who knows? They're all adults, whatever. But that's the gauntlet. And that's what Kennedy was involved in Dealey Plaza. It was the gauntlet. That was the gauntlet. And the final stop on that gauntlet was the complete demolition of the vehicle. And they have done this every step along the way, whether it's been trying to flip the Electoral College votes, trying to do the Jill Stein recount, trying to establish the fact that there is Russia collusion, trying to do all these things. Mike Flynn, you name it, it's all been a part of the gauntlet. And every step along the way, this guy has somehow managed to get through this thing, okay? If you want to look at the modern metaphor, go watch some of the riots in places like Portland and Seattle where people are attacking cars and all that. I mean, that's another version of the gauntlet. The gauntlet is in front of us right now, and Trump's been running the gauntlet. And again, you may think he's in on it. He's part of the crew. And I would say he's in on something at a higher level, right? But I've never seen anybody, no president in my lifetime has ever had to go through this shit. And you either have to be a clone or a sadist to allow this stuff to continue, right? A clone or a sadist or just a high level trader in order to participate at this level. And I don't really believe that. Maybe the clone thing might make some sense. Okay, but he's in the gauntlet, and you've seen it every step of the way, whether it was the weird thing with Kavanaugh, whatever that was. And Blasey Ford, I mean, that was that high strange. By the way, has anybody really seen Blasey Ford lately? Can somebody who lives in Palo Alto go kind of cruise around? Oh, I forget, they're not in school. Where is Blasey Ford today? Why don't we do some follow-up interviews with Blasey Ford? Maybe you should have Brett Kavanaugh help you arrange those interviews. Oh, wow, that was high strange. Anyway, this is the gauntlet. And at the end of the gauntlet, what's the outcome? Complete and utter visceration. And I think that's what they're moving towards. That's where the momentum is coming from. So if that's going to be the case, then everything that we've had in order to psychologically render us either inert or what's the other word I'm looking for? Disempowered. They've had to up the ante every time. Okay, they've had to summon the volume of the psychic power and throw it at us harder every time. So if that's the case, then whatever they will do in order to create this gauntlet will make the George Floyd stuff seem like an after-school schoolyard skirmish. Okay, just keep that in mind. Keep that in mind, because this is the end game. We are headed towards the end game. You know, we are looking really at about 97 days before the election. This is the end game. Now, if the election theoretically does occur, and I say theoretically, I've been questioning this election for a very long time. You go back and look at my videos a year and a half ago, 2 years ago. I was like, I don't know, man. I'm not sure we're gonna have an election in 2020, and you know, and I'm still there. If we manage to have an election this year, I guarantee you the actual results of the election will be rendered either false, erroneous, rigged, whatever. So it will essentially neutralize this idea of the election based on the results. So we can have an election, but the election will be, you know, canceled. By the way, what hasn't been canceled this year? What hasn't been canceled? Would you be surprised if the election wasn't canceled? We've seen everything else be canceled, pretty much, right? Hollywood shows are getting canceled. Movies are not in production. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, we are in the reset. This is big. This is big news, big time. And they don't plan, they being the so-called left, they don't plan on an election. No, they don't. They don't want to throw Joe Biden out there. And they know that even the mail-in stuff now is starting to backfire on them. So their options are starting to get limited. And when that happens, guess what happens? Things get explosive, very explosive. So what are you going to do about it? You know, what can you do about it? There's always things you can do about it. Always. And those things are internal. And that's what I do my best, or try my best to try to work out in my own life, is the internalization of the things that I want to change about myself, my life, my attitudes, my beliefs, my thoughts, my perception, my consciousness. You know, because that's where the axe gets sharpened every day. And sometimes it's difficult, you know, for each and every one of us. And these are challenging times. They're really challenging times. Trust me. I work with people every day. I hear their stories. I know what it's like. I know what it's like with them, with me, the world around me. It's not easy. It's not easy, but you're here, you know, and roll up your sleeves and put your big boy and big girl boots on and get ready. Get ready. You know, take care of your body, take care of your mind. And look, you got people in your life that you are not relating to or with, you know, keep a little crack in the door open, but sometimes you got to prune some dead wood. And that's just the way it is. You know, you got to prune some dead wood. Leave the crack in the door open, but it's like a psychic and emotional energy that's being drained off to people that don't want to have a dialogue. They're not open. You know, they're not willing to step outside their comfort zone to see a version of the universe that you might be experiencing. It's kind of like my numbers game here. At some point, you have to say, well, is there a point of diminishing returns here? The problem is a lot of people, you know, they want to be liked. They want to have their family. I get it. I totally get it. And there's nothing wrong with those things. Those things are important. Again, I talk to people all over the country and all over the world, and the story with that is that people are isolated. I talk to this person here and this person here and this person. There's nobody to talk to. Their family has kind of cut them off, and they're living in a part of the world where, you know, their community has very little kind of touch points for them to feel like they actually belong. This is a real issue, by the way. It's an issue. but it's not an issue that one can't overcome. And part of the thing that we all have to do is we all have to risk something in some ways. Like I have to risk the fact that maybe this isn't really what I'm supposed to be doing because the fucking numbers don't really reflect the effort that I put in. I'm sorry. And I'm not putting the onus or pressure on you to make my world better. I'm looking at this objectively. So if I need to prune something, then I'm going to fucking prune it. That's just the way it is. And I won't think twice about it. I won't think twice about it because we cannot afford to sentimentalize our experience right now. We just can't. And it sounds, hardcore or rigorous or unloving, but it's the truth. There's a higher order and a higher love, and that's there for you on the other side. And you have to trust that. You have to get really, really scrupulous about why you're doing what you're doing. Is what I do here a vanity affair? Is this why I'm here? Some level, it's like it helps me because it's therapeutic. This is therapeutic for me. I get to talk about shit. I get to banter. I get to bring up ideas. This is great. I love doing this. It's fun. I enjoy it. It's connecting me with a lot of great people. But there's the other part of me that is, kind of logical and rational about this thing. And I urge you to do the same thing. Like, if I'm willing to look at this, what are you willing to look at? What are you willing to look at in your own life and say, you know what, I need to cut this thing loose? Because when you cut it loose, guess what? Something else comes up. Something else emerges out of the void. And it's there waiting for you on the other side. So this is where we get to face our fears. If I bring this up, are people not going to like me? If I tell people, hey, send me a summary of your link, please. Are people going to say, he's an asshole. He's a dick. These are areas that we got to go into. And we got to risk, not being liked or offending people or whatever those things are, because the stakes are much higher than that. Those are all social conditions. So what are you going to do? What are you going to do? How serious and how committed are you to the journey and the path that you're on? What kind of deadwood? Maybe I'm the deadwood. Fucking if I'm the deadwood, cut me out if that's the case. I spend 40 minutes a day listening to this asshole. Like there's 40 minutes I could do meditating, whatever, right? I'm just asking everybody to have a really clear look at what's going on. Whether it's your attitudes, your beliefs, your time, your people, and make adjustments, man. When you make the adjustments, guess what happens? Your life changes. You get to recreate the timeline of your life. Yesterday I got into this whole thing about food, and I'm going to get out of here soon. By the way, I've been on 43 minutes. I'm going to go at max 50 minutes today. I got into the whole food thing yesterday. And again, I didn't mean to offend anybody about the food. That's not my intention. But the reason why I changed my diet and all that stuff was because I was in bad physical shape. I was pre-diabetic. I had blood pressure soaring through the roof. My liver after years of taking it out, 2-3 nights a week, the ravages of a certain lifestyle and time were really hitting my body. And I was trending dangerously into levels that were really getting in the way of my actually being able to live. Okay. So it was not a vanity trip. I had to get healthy and I had to cut things out. I had to cut them out. And that's addition by subtraction. So what could you eliminate in your life? We had a Scorpio moon today. Is that right? It's a good topic of conversation. And you don't have to do it with a vindictive kind of sense, unless you want to. Maybe there's a good release if you flip a middle finger at somebody or some situation. I'm not going to judge that. But if you can have clear presence of mind and clear things away during this time, right, you'll be able to theoretically act more. You'll be able to be activated. You'll be able to do things like walk around the town without a fucking mask on if that's what you want to do. If that's how you're going to do whatever that thing is, right? Whatever that thing is. All right. What are we at here? 45 minutes. I think I'm done for today. I'm going to do shorter shows. That's just the way it is. I just got to do something different Because the other thing's just, to me, again, numbers wise, it's just not working. It's not working time wise. It's not working metrics wise. And I'm not a fool. I refuse to be a fool. I may act foolish every now and then, but I'm not a fool. All right, let me check with you guys, see where you're at. Let's say I was born with Scorpio Moon. I'm excessive middle finger user. Good. I'm going to try to prepare for what's coming for me and mine. Done trying to wake people up. If that makes me a bad person, so be it. You don't have to go, Anka. I'm there with you, man. You people only have so much energy and time, and you want to invest that energy and time in areas that are productive. And I got turned on to this about 5 years ago on Facebook. I was one of those Facebook guys. Oh, I want to have a fair conversation. This is 2009, 2010, 2011. Oh, let's talk about it. Let's talk about it. I don't want to appear to be unfair. And at some point I just said, fuck that. And I just started to just groom and trim my Facebook list. Sorry, it's the way it is. It was a waste of time. It was not my responsibility at that point. I'd spent basically 2009 to 2012 trying absolutely to do that. How many hearts and minds that I went over? I don't know. Maybe a few. I think I know one at least. But I didn't go out of my way to do that with that person. It just happened. Be led by your crown. Are you sharing the message you're here to give? If so, continue. I do my best to be led by, this and this. I do. I absolutely do. But for me, it's like, again, I'm looking at the numbers, and I think we all need to be very circumspect about our time and our energy and where we're putting it. No one can truly wake anyone up, just as no one can do a workout for you. Brilliant. That's why I always like baseball. Baseball to me is the greatest sport. Why? Because nobody can help you field the ball. Nobody can help you swing a bat. Done. Most of us are. It was more out of shock. What else do we have here? I never did actually try to wake people up until I realized how. There is a method to it. Form your tribe. Yes, I agree. The problem with forming your tribe is that people are so spread out. And this is why Chatlandia is such a cool thing. You guys are beautiful. You're great. And I just look, if it's just a function of people showing up, being able to hang out here, that's fine. And chat and relate. I'm all for that. But, it's not going to be war and peace from here on out. Trust me. It'll be more like, I don't know. What would be the equivalent? An 18-minute infomercial? No, not really. Okay, what else do we have? I got healthy too, ramped on my dead making. Yeah, that's it. This is it. Remember the Regulus is in Virgo, man. Regulus is in Virgo. The royal star is in the sign of Virgo. What is Virgo about? It's about health. It's about health and order. It's no longer in Leo. All right. What else do we have here? I'm woke, but too motherfucking dumbed down. Figure out what it is. Trust your instincts. Yeah. Thanks. All right. I'm out of here. Thank you. Snake says, I quit my job, taking a 2,500-mile road trip to Ben Balderson's off-grid ranch. Learn how to. Good for you, man. Good for you, Snake Jones. That's taken in action. That is fantastic. Good for you. And we are a really interesting community. It's not just, I was over on this guy, Mark Fugel. I was on his channel. He's got a nice community, man. That's a very nice community. They call themselves the Fugel family. It's like a really cool thing. So people are understanding this. People are kind of, they're congregating. They're we're having these pod-like experiences, which are really great. And the same kinds of ideas and the same kinds of intentions and the same kind of spirit or a similar spirit is circulating through all of that. So these are really powerful times. I want to end on something positive, which I try to do. These are really powerful times, extremely powerful times. And you can see it out there, right? You can see, like, at a social level, the mass programming, all the stuff that's going along with it, the explosions in the cities, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. There's an internal version of that is happening with you. That's how powerful it is. That's how powerful it is. Cut away the things that keep you from that experience, and it will emerge more in your life. Trust that. All right, I'm out of here. Thank you. Thank you for allowing me to kind of clear the air, open the air the blanket. I will be back tomorrow, but I am going to continue to make some changes here. 50 minutes max on the show. The 90-minute kind of rambling episodic shit, that's kind of over now. Use your head in order to discern what's real, your heart to serve what's possible. Thanks for listening. I'm Robert Phoenix. Take good care of yourself, and I'll have more news on the event over the next 48 hours. And you guys, love you all. Bye for now.